All right, so it is about the 3 hour mark. I ain't gonna lie, I did open it twice. I opened it at the 1 hour. I'd open at every 1 hour mark. So the 1 hour mark and the 2 hour mark, I just peeked in just to look at it, make sure, make sure it. I didn't have to. In hindsight, I could have just left it alone, but I did anyway. So that's my little confession. But if you're gonna open it now for the third time, and that's what we got. I also got a little spritzer. What this is, just the leftover wine that I use. I'm just using it just cause. And pretty much I'm just gonna move these around. As you see, the tips got a nice color on them. To let those go for a little bit longer. So right now I'm just pretty much spraying them just to make sure the moisture is on them a little bit. These are there we go. And as you see, when I'm shaking them, they have like a lot of wiggle in there, so it's pretty good. And we see the nice color they got on there. What I do want to do is get a good temp on them to see where they're at. I don't have one of those fancy little probes. I got this little thing. It gives me an instant temperature. So we'll do that with this one actually. And I will just stick this anywhere I can. Can I stick? There we go. So I'll pop that in there and we'll see what it's reading. So it's saying 173, which is good. Which is actually good. So it's right now it's at 176. So, and then I'm noticing when I'm opening it up, I'm noticing the fire's coming up. So I'm going to close it while I talk because I don't want it to sear too much. So at about 170, about 170, 180, 190-ish, the meat starts to like do a lot of sweating. Like a lot of that fat breaks down and it cools the meat off. It's what it's trying to do. So I'm gonna leave it on. So what I'll usually do at this point is I'll take them off and I'll wrap them. And when I wrap them, then I'll put them back on here and bring them up to like at least 200, 205 degrees for an internal temperature. But for now, what I'm gonna do is they look good. I like to get a little more color on them. Right now it's like a nice, like I said, that's a nice little color. It look good, but I like to get it a little bit more darker. And it also gives me a chance to crunch up a little bit of everything. A little seasons, let it crunch up a little bit. So I'm gonna move these over. I'm gonna leave those there. So everything's good. I'm happy with what I got. I am gonna just give it a little quick spritz. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna open them up a little bit. And I'm gonna probably do this for another. Actually, I could wrap them now. I'll let this go for maybe another 10, 15 minutes just to see what it does. And then we'll bring them inside, wrap them, and then we'll bring them back out here to actually cook a little bit longer, to bring it up to that higher temperature. So just stay with me for a little bit and we'll be back. All right, we are back. So I went on ahead and I left the slabs out there. Right now I'm just gonna worry about the tips. So what I'm gonna do is I just took them off, so it's kind of hot. Trying to pull this. Oh, actually, you know what? I got 3 things on here. That's why I can't. Whew. This is probably the hardest part to do, taking the hooks out after you pull the meat out on the grill. There we go. Now, normally I'll just let it rest, but since I gotta get right back out there, that's why I have. That's why I gotta, come in here and do this. So it's pretty tender. It's kind of falling apart a little bit, which is all right. So now I'm just gonna try to find the bone and just break them up into the individual tips. And this little piece here, that's what I like to do. I like to take it like a little snack. And as you see, it tips very soft. You see that smoke ring in there a little bit, but very soft, pretty much falling apart on me. So we're gonna cut this other one up. Yeah. Do not drop it. So I do not want to have to go to the 5-second rule, which, you know, I'm not ashamed to do so. And I probably could have diced these up a little bit better, but you know, I really don't care. I am hungry, but I can't. Gotta wait. And these are up to temperature, so they're pretty much, you could eat these now if you wanted to, but I like to put them back in there to soften them up a little bit. And then this is that other piece that I didn't know what to do. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that up, put it with it. Might as well, right? Almost looks like a jerky almost. We'll go ahead and try that. That's very flavorful. If I could figure out how to put that on a sandwich or something, that might be pretty good. Another piece, I'll just cut that in half. And these are those end pieces that I couldn't really figure out what to do with. Now this didn't get that seared on it because it was touching another piece of meat, but it is cooked. So we'll just oh yeah, look at that. You can see that nice beautiful smoke ring. So we'll just cut this up anyway. And we'll just throw all that together. See, there's a bone in here somewhere. I can't get, well, I'll just throw that in there. All right, cool. So next thing, what I like to do is I like to take, and you can add a little bit more seasoning if you want to, but it's flavorful enough. So I'm just gonna pour some barbecue sauce on it. And then right here, I got it on some butcher paper. I like the butcher paper better than foil because it lets it kind of breathe through. But with these, I'm gonna wrap it in the butcher paper and the foil as well. Because sometimes with a lot of sauce and a lot of fatty, it'll seep through, and it'll be like, as you see, it's already seeping through. So I'm just gonna, just to keep everything together, going to go ahead and wrap all this. All right, so that's ready to go. I'm going to set this right back out on the grill, and I'll be right back while I get the other stuff. All right, so we're back. I pulled them off. What I did was I set the smoker up to grill mode now. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. What I did was I put the ribs face down to kind of let them get a little bit more seared at the top. So now I got like a little crispy goodiness. We'll do an official temp. And it's like sliding in really smooth. So they're almost ready to go. See, right now I got a good temp of 205. So this one I may not really need to wrap it at all. And there's that 195 here. Then over here, we got a good 185, 186, 187. We got 195, 196. Can we get to 200? No. All right, 198. So 198 on the fat part. So we're now this slab is pretty much ready to go. But I'm gonna still put it back on there anyway. So let me get my hook out. And then, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off because I am hungry, so I'm going to eat this as soon as I'm done. And pretty much for my ribs, I don't add any sauce to it. You know, you don't really need no sauce. Sometimes I'll hit it with a little bit more of my spritzer, just cause. And then if you want, you can add a little bit more. Sometimes I'll squeeze a little bit more lemon on there or add a little bit more pepper if I wanted to. But this looks perfect, looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it's, there we go. As long as you got it wrapped for the most part. And then I'm going to throw this on the grill with the fat side up. You could do fat side down, or I mean, you could do meat side down. I really don't know the difference. I really haven't tried it that many times, or I haven't paid attention to that many times. All right, so, and then if you look on the end, you see we got decent pullback where the meat's kind of like pulled back and it's got the bones exposed. So that's good too. Looks good on presentation. So we're just gonna spray this down. And also, if you notice, like when I hold them up, like they're really moving a lot. And you don't want the ribs. Ribs aren't supposed to fall off the bone, because then you probably just made a roast. You just kind of just made like a pork roast, I guess. But you do want it to have a little. You want it to give when you want it to give. So now we're gonna wrap these. So then a lot of times I'll just take this and put them both side by side like that. And this is probably way too much paper, but I already got it out, so I'm gonna use it. So I got my 2 slabs of ribs right there, and then I also have my rib tips. I'm gonna set that there, and we're gonna go on out to the grill, and we're gonna throw it back on there. So I'm just gonna throw everything on there like this. And now normally I would try to pull this at about the 180 mark. Let's see if I can get this camera out here. Gotta multitask. Normally I would try to pull everything at about a temperature of like around 170, 180. Usually I'll pull it and wrap it. But since it cooked faster than what I thought, right now it shouldn't take that longer. Normally I'll put it back on it for another maybe hour or so. This, I'm comfortable with just leaving it on here. Normally I would open up the vents. So now I just got my, I got my ribs over here. I got my this over there. And if I had more ribs, I would probably just stack them up neat, or I'll get to my other little grate and put that on top and then add another layer. So right now I'm just gonna close that. And since it's at the temperature that I want, I'm just gonna close the vents up. Maybe add like a little bit more. Yeah. Because I don't need it to cook anymore. I don't need to bring the temperature up because it's already at the temperature that I needed it to be. So if it was at the 180 mark, what I would do is I would open my vents up and try to get the grill going to like a good 300 degrees. That way it'll cook everything a little bit faster. And the heat won't char the meat anymore because it's already wrapped, so it kind of protects it a little bit. But since it's exactly where I want it to be, I'm just gonna go ahead and actually I'll leave it like this for another half hour. I'm gonna leave this like this for another half hour, and then eventually what I might do is sometimes I'll just close the vents off and just let it sit in here. And as it's closing off, the grill's still holding that temperature and the food's still warming up, and then it'll eventually the grill will die down, but it takes a while for it to lose heat. So I'm gonna let this go for another 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, I don't know, or until I get hungry again, then I'll be back out here. So thanks. This is a part 2. Part 3 is when I actually unwrap it and we'll get to see how they look. But I think I want to let it go for at least another 30 minutes just to make sure everything softens up.